Good day, and welcome to the SNN Network Summer Virtual Event. Our next presenting company is Petros Pharmaceuticals. It is now my pleasure to turn the floor over to the CEO, Fady Bakhtar. Sir, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And good afternoon, everyone. Good to be with you today. It's a privilege and pleasure to be speaking to you and letting you know a little bit about Petros Pharmaceuticals. I think you'll find that our story is a unique and powerful one with some subtlety. So I'll ask you to tune in and stay close to the Petros story even beyond this presentation. So to kick it off, in this cover story, in this cover slide, I want to quickly mention the motto: we hope and work to enable men to live their journey to its fullest potential, something that is largely unnoticed and underserved. Men tend to live for the ones they love, and yet they devalue their health significantly. There are many unmet and underserved areas of men's health today that few organizations understand and have potential market potential, but potential positive outcomes to drive. We'll dive into a few of those areas and how we think we could be, in particular, market disruptors in this space. So as we dive in, a quick note on a cautionary note. Many of the things we'll talk about here may be forward-looking, ambitious, and aspirational. Some will be actual data and precise determinations, definitive. Others will be aspirational. So stay tuned. Compare these comments with our 10Q, with bona fide financials, and let us know if you have any questions beyond. So let's kick it off. We should be on slide 3. The ED market opportunity. We talked about how men devalue their health and how they tend not to pay attention to issues and elements that may impair them. Erectile dysfunction is at the core, among many things, is at the core of such a sort of an absence of action. We are 2 decades into this market with players like Viagra, Cialis, Levitra, and even our own flagship asset, Stendra. We are over 2 decades into this marketplace, and yet recently it's been estimated that only about 25% of men have actually sought prescription oral erectile dysfunction therapy. That implies something's wrong. There's a significant component behind that that's due to stigma, embarrassment. Men would rather stay in silence, suffer in silence, and be withdrawn than to even go see a physician and have the somewhat complicated conversation as to what's happening with their anatomy and their function. That is an issue. And we think we have a solution on that front that may help strengthen and unearth that population of patient. And here's another interesting factor in this entire dynamic. Because of the sort of emerging digital age, the telemedicine platforms that have come to light, the messaging to the younger population, we're starting to see that 1 in 4 ED patients are now under 40, which means we're realizing that this is not just a 40-year-old plus demographic and market. This is actually going to begin to show up in patients in their 20s and 30s, which means erectile dysfunction in men's health begins impairing men much earlier in their lives than we've come to understand historically. Significant area of opportunity. This is a massive area that has warranted our attention. We'll dive into deeper solutions as to how we think we can disrupt the space as well. As we transition over to slide 4, we'll talk about some of those mechanisms that we're tightly tuned into. So many have coined this age as the 4th industrial revolution, meaning tremendous opportunity for integrated technology, data integration, health records, so forth and so on. With all of that platform emerging, there's also the obvious preference of patients to self-care, to be able to control a greater portion of their health care. And that's why we're looking at initiatives that the FDA has talked about for a number of years, since really 2012-13, about this concept of Ensure, non-prescription utilization of medications. That is a phenomenal opportunity for a company to take advantage of, and it's certainly within our radar. We'll dive into deeper detail on that in a minute. And then naturally, when we talk about prescription, transition to over-the-counter, which means you take medications that are prescription today, and you work to transition them with the guidance of the FDA into over-the-counter status. That is a significant way to take products that largely are well known enough for the greater consumer to self-diagnose and self-select, and to allow it to be available to the consumer at the whim of their need, rather than having to go through the several hurdles to call, schedule an appointment, wait for that appointment opening to occur, make the visit, get the prescription, and then finally get what you need after a prolonged period of transactions or a series of junctures. Prescription to over-the-counter status is a significant movement in the space, and we'll talk a little bit more about how our company and our asset is positioned to pursue this as a potential game-changing feature. And there are many other emerging technologies that integrate health records to help patients not only self-diagnose and self-select, but to possibly leverage back-end data to cross-reference and to, again, abbreviate and truncate the time between choice, need, and actual product acquisition. We'll talk a little bit more about that as we proceed. Our flagship asset. Today we have a revenue-generating prescription-grade oral erectile dysfunction medication in market by the name of Stendra. Generic name is Avanafil. This is a patent-protected prescription-grade erectile dysfunction medication in market today, competing with the brands and the generics of the world of Viagra, Cialis, and Levitra. This product continues to demonstrate a strong hold in the market, preserving its market share and demonstrating growth quarter over quarter, and giving consumers an opportunity to self-select towards its features. The beauty behind this product, especially as a patent-protected asset, is that we believe it has a profile that we'll be working with the FDA on that presents it as a strong candidate for the first ever potential prescription to OTC erectile dysfunction medication that has not occurred yet in this country. We think we have a profile behind Stendra that could speak that story, that could tell that story, and that could present a profile that might find it conducive to be that first ever, first mover candidate. Leveraging everything from non-prescription utilization, such as what the FDA has talked about for years, or plain prescription to OTC switch. This is a remarkable opportunity to do something in this marketplace, rather, that will be a landmark achievement. Again, potentially unearthing the 3/4 of patients that have not yet even mobilized to ask for prescription medication, to be able to seek an over-the-counter option with a click to purchase or at their local grocer or pharmacy. In the same tune of landmark achievements, we talk about taking the first ever prescription-grade erectile dysfunction medication and presenting it as an over-the-counter candidate and bringing it to market as an over-the-counter candidate by FDA guidance, an absolutely disruptive feature. And when we're also going to look at another landmark achievement in the space of Peyronie's disease. If you have not seen Peyronie's disease or examined it, I'll urge you to do so. This is a significant men's health issue with significant psychosocial implications. And this is a fibrotic, penile fibrotic condition that essentially, after a series of micro-injuries to the penis, begins to manifest as a disfiguration, curvature, hourglass narrowing, and the like. Significant issue that impacts the man beyond just sexual function, impacts the man in self-reflection and relational reflection, and so forth and so on, the man and their partner. Currently, the only thing available for patients with this condition is a series of injections, which is currently the FDA prescription gold standard for treatment, a great choice to select, and or surgical intervention. There's nothing, though, in today's market that's non-invasive, certainly topical, that's FDA proven and approved to be an option for these patients. We currently have a formulation that has proven itself on a pilot study with its multiple endpoints to demonstrate its potential to be impactful as the first ever non-invasive topical Peyronie's treatment that we'll be working with FDA to bring to market. Let's dive deeper into what that could look like. So this product, this formulation that we've talked about, coined H100, actually was studied in a 22-patient study, well-designed. We're talking a prospective randomized double-blind placebo-controlled study with 22 patients that demonstrated improvement in mean stretched penile length, increasing by 22%, by mean curvature reduction by way of 40.8%, and by a reduction in pain level by about 85–86%. Remarkable initial endpoints to demonstrate its potential in larger clinical trial platforms. Our goal is to put this story together, request a meeting with FDA, which is what we're in process of doing currently, request a pre-IND, and explore being able to bring this product to market under FDA guidance and approval. This would be a tremendous addition to the men's health story and to the Peyronie's arsenal of treatments. We look forward to being a part of that story. We'll transition into the medical device business. So we have a medical device division today that has a series of devices for the treatment of erectile dysfunction. We're talking medical grade, physician supported and backed medical device interventions coined vacuum erection devices. These devices essentially by hand manual or automation actually induces blood into the penis and drives an erection, whether it's through chronic rehabilitative use or for sexual engagements on demand and on the spot. These devices have been known for years to be a tremendous value to men and has in many ways and for a period of time actually served as frontline, first-line therapy, especially for those today, even through today, patients that don't want to be medication dependent. This device series is a part of a larger ED device market segment that is set to grow at a CAGR of about 7 to 9% year over year. It's remarkable. So the medical device for erectile dysfunction therapy marketplace is projected to grow significantly. We want to be a part of that growth. We have assets and devices in this portfolio that we believe will be a significant contributor to that pathway. We also look to possibly evolve these devices for modern day relevance and improvements and to be cutting edge and again disrupt the marketplace with innovative devices in this space. Today, these devices are revenue generating and preparing for the first time ever under our roof, a direct-to-consumer campaign with broad potential for televised promotion. The consumer has never been given an opportunity in any ubiquitous way to learn about the value of these devices, destigmatizing them, and presenting the medical grade value behind these devices. We aim to tell that story and to maximize its potential in the consumer mind. So in the prospects of our portfolio, revenue generating and current today to the aspirational portfolio development from over-the-counter status for Stendra to H100 for Peyronie's disease to even an evolutionary device for erectile dysfunction. We have a team to highlight behind the story that basically adds credibility, momentum, and an experience to both the current day challenges and the aspirational elements to come. We have Juggernaut Capital Partners, who's been a long-time supporter for Metuchen, which was the private entity that held Stendra, to even it becoming Petros' public entity, again with Stendra as the flagship, backed by John Shulman, founding partner of Juggernaut Capital Partners. John Shulman and Juggernaut have brands, and I urge everyone to check them out online. They have brands such as Voss Water. They have brands such as Zoa, which was an energy drink launched by in collaboration with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. And they have Foundation Consumer Health, which is a remarkable company. Greg Bradley is the CEO of Foundation Consumer Healthcare. Greg and Foundation brought Plan B one step from prescription to over-the-counter status, driving it to be the #1 selling SKU in the United States. Greg is on our board, continues to devote time, energy, skill, resources, and network to our own ambitions for Stendra. And John Shulman is our executive chairman for our board, providing all the brand expertise and knowledge, especially in terms of consumer, direct-to-consumer skill to our story. So tremendous talents to our team that we are grateful to have on board and that we're benefiting already from some of their catalyst resources. This is the top line leadership team for review and reiteration. I'll include myself on this platform. I come from large players such as Merck, Novartis, and the like, and it's been a remarkable 2-decade journey with large companies as well as small companies, such as Auxilium Pharmaceuticals, which was purchased by Endo for $2.6 billion, and Adapt Pharmaceuticals, which was purchased by Emergent Biosolutions for $750 million. The art and skill there, surrounded by a talented team and tremendous ambition and savvy, was to take hidden treasures within small organizations and drive them to market landscape value that not only takes the attention and the aspirations of the mind of the provider, the patient, but also collaborating companies that find innovative and disruptive technologies and platforms coming to light. That has been the game of which I've been a part of in a series of organizations as a fly on the wall, as a contributor, and as a driver, all fronts, guided, taught, and led by some of the best in the industry, and grateful for it. We have a team here between Juggernaut, Foundation Consumer Healthcare, and the talent that was infused within me over these last many years and decades that is capable of potentially bringing the first ever prescription-grade erectile dysfunction product to over-the-counter status, to helping us develop the first ever non-invasive topical treatment for Peyronie's disease, and to bring potentially a new stage of ED medical device evolutions to marketplace. With that said, I'll pause for a minute, see if anybody has any questions. Please feel free to leverage your dashboard, I believe, to send over any questions that you might have. And as we wait, I do see a question that's popped up here. What are some of the company's value catalysts moving forward for the rest of 2021 going to 2022? That's an exciting story to tell. So our catalysts will revolve around a few different points as we close out 21 and enter 22. Initially and foremost, it'll be around Stendra. We recently requested an FDA meeting with Stendra for label expansion, and that has been scheduled for September. Our goal there is to seek modified labeling for Stendra in terms of concomitant use with nitrates, in terms of multi-use within a 24-hour period, and the addition of post-radical prostatectomy as an approved utilization. I think that is going to be an initial catalyst for us to stay tuned into. You'll see the FDA giving their opinions, their feedback on each of these fronts, which will begin to imply our profile potential for over-the-counter as we approach 22, where we meet with OTC division of FDA. Additionally, our progress with H100 as our Peyronie's disease formulation, being able to take that to FDA, develop the developmental roadmap, and to demonstrate the FDA's feedback and development platform, potentially inviting collaborating companies to join in on the development of H100 for Peyronie's disease, another remarkable catalyst. And lastly, as we develop and design and find and discover new digital platforms such as telemedicine, potential announcements that we'll make in terms of collaborating with some formidable partners in the telemedicine platform and demonstrating that we can be accessible by way of some of the leading and best and proven telemedicine platforms available. I think that will quite nicely take us through 21 and into 22 with some incremental catalysts to change the profile of our company. Quickly screening here to see if there are any additional questions available. Okay. So I see another question that's come in. Will I be able to provide sales guidance for 21? We have not yet publicly announced any sales guidance for 21. I'll quickly say for context, and this is included in all of our public papers, that we exited 2019 to the tune of roughly 30 million in gross sales, consolidated between our device and our product, our pharmaceutical product portfolio. Our goal for 21 is to leverage that last normalized year and to seek to beat those figures to the best of our ability. I think COVID is not quite yet departed. However, our goal and intent is to meet COVID's new challenges by way of digital, telemedicine, and virtual mechanisms that enable us to get the right message in front of the right provider or the right consumer, and to seek non-prescription or non-prescription status and greater prescription status, I should say. So 21 is subject to some of the wins of some of those initiatives, and certainly has 2019 as its baseline to beat, if that helps. Let's see if we have any additional questions. I'll remind everyone, please do look at your platform, see if you have any questions. Please do submit as we navigate the close of this presentation. Okay. If there are no further questions, I'll quickly make a closing comment. The value behind Petros Pharmaceuticals today is an extremely experienced management team with tremendous talent. We are a lean, streamlined, highly talented team with a tremendous track record of developing high-value organizations from very little to something very significant. We like to take those hidden treasures and let them be known. This is a low cost of entry at roughly $3 a share, with tremendous catalysts and milestones at bay, and tremendous opportunities to see incredible value. So keep this in mind. Stay tuned to our press releases. You'll see the progress we're making on over-the-counter and some of the communications we'll have with FDA, some of the studies that we're going to be completing and presenting publicly, as well as announcements that we'll make around H100 and announcements that we'll potentially be making for any device evolutions and launches. Stay tuned to our story. You'll find that we're geared and focused to taking this company and allowing its hidden treasures to be known publicly, and for the value to be well known across the board. With that said, no additional questions are posted. It's been a pleasure speaking with everyone this afternoon. Please do reach out if you have any questions for follow-up. Thank you all.
Ladies and gentlemen, that does conclude the Petros Pharmaceuticals presentation. Thank you for joining us. You may now disconnect.